What's up, guys? David here, and welcome to the Fit Pro Daily. A new week means a brand new topic, and this week is all about creating a fitness business that works for you. And there's no better place to start than inviting our guest speaker on this week, Liam Britton, to share his experience on setting up his two own fitness businesses and getting all the insight into what he's doing now into helping other fitness businesses create more time, create more freedom, and create the right fitness business for them. Anyway, enough of me talking. If you haven't subscribed, press subscribe. But for now, let's dive into this week's guest interview. Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to today's guest interview. Today, we have a returning guest speaker. We've got Liam all the way in... Where are you currently based now, Liam?
I'm up in Sunderland, northeast.
Nice. Sunny, or it always seems to rain in Sunderland, so I'm guessing it must be raining.
Yeah, to be fair, it's actually a pretty nice day today, which is a rarity. But
yeah.
It's all good. It's all good.
Cool. Okay, so the last time you came on, we were all talking about sales, and you were just kind of laying out a body transformation system for anybody that didn't watch previously. So if you're really struggling with sales and stuff, probably go back and check that episode out. But today, or this time, Liam's going to come on and talk a little bit more about regaining time in your fitness business. Is that the gist of today's topic?
Yeah, so what I want to talk about today is I tend to meet a lot of fitness professionals and fitness studio owners in more so that are, they might be doing okay money-wise, they're making okay money, but it's just that they're working horrendous hours. Getting up at 5, getting home at 9, maybe having a few hours in the day to breathe. But I mean, it's relentless. So I just seem to be meeting more and more fitness studio owners who I'm helping regain that time back and actually get that freedom back, and actually have a business that can run without them rather than them doing everything. Right.
Cool. Okay.
So yeah, that's what I want to kind of touch on today.
Cool. Okay, so before we do dive in, and for anybody listening now thinking, why should I even listen to Liam? Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get started in the fitness industry for anybody who has no idea who you are?
So I've been in the industry since I was 16 years old. I'm now 34. I got into fitness just because I wanted to put on muscles. I'm really tall. I'm like 6'5", and I used to be very, very skinny.
You must be taller than 6'5", because I'm 5'11". Every time I meet you, I'm always looking at.
Everyone is shocked when they meet me for the first time, because obviously a lot of people have only ever seen me on camera, and then they meet me and they're like, oh my God. So I was pretty skinny as a teenager. So I started learning how to lift weights and stuff, and then it kind of transformed from there. And I got my, instructor qualification at 16. Then I became a PT at 21. And then, and then eventually went and opened up my first studio down south in Suffolk. And then I've also had a studio up north as well in Sunderland too. So I've had a couple of fitness studios as well that have both been successful. Been in this game a long time now, and just looking forward to share some experience with the guys in the group.
Cool. Okay, so let's kind of start with anybody who's a little bit unsure about the time element of it. Maybe, like we all know as fit pros, a general fit pro life is early morning to late morning, have a little bit of a break during the day, and then you just go again of an evening. Is that normal to do this like 5 or 6 days a week, even 7 days a week, or should we really be having a balance in our life?
I think at the start it always is. When let's say you become a self-employed PT, you go in, or you open up your fitness studio, you're kind of in that mindset of like, I just need to work as many hours, take on as many clients as I can, because I need to make money. So you're in that mode of just trying to make money. But I can remember receiving an email in my mid-20s, and it was an email from Paul Moore, which a lot of people will know. And the email said, are you still going to be a one-to-one PT at 40 years old? right? Is that still what you want to do? And that kind of really put a question mark over, what am I doing here? What am I building here? Because at the moment, I've just got a job,
Yeah.
right? I've just got a glorified job. That's all I have. Because if I step away and go on holiday, for example, then I can't earn money, right? The money stops. So in my mid 20s, I became kind of started thinking about, or how can I create a business that can make me money regardless if I'm there or not, right? I started to really think about that and started moving towards that as best I could. But yeah, for sure, to answer your question, I think everyone goes through that at the start, but as time goes on, you start to think, when am I going to get my family time? When am I going to get time for me? Because I'm doing relentless hours, and no matter how hard I work, I seem to, you know, not have any time, right? So it's really making that transition from self-employed person to proper business owner, and that's where my coaching and help comes in to enable studio owners and fit pros to be a proper business owner rather than having a glorified job, if that makes sense.
And like I say, that's a really key point. Like when when you're actually employed by somebody else and you want to have time off, or you're sick, you can just say you need time off and you get paid for it. But then when you're self-employed, it's a completely different ball game. If you decide to have a week's off holiday, that's no income for that week that you're off. You decide to cancel sessions because you're ill. That's it. You lose that money because. So, is there a better way of making sure your income is more secured while still working these hours? Would you recommend everyone goes to monthly rather than blocks or per session?
Um, that's a massive question. Like, yeah, for sure. Like, you should always be selling like a result rather than over like sessions, for example. But um, when it comes to what you want is you want a team, you want systems that is going to enable you for your business to run whilst you're not around, right? Because that's the ideal scenario. um like I said earlier, in your 20s you can get away with it, right? But as you edge into your 30s and you have a family, for example, it's this kind of thing that becomes a lot more important, and you have to start thinking a lot more longer term about what your actions on a daily basis, what you're doing to actually create something that's actually going to create money for you regardless if you're working or not. um and there's always there's always it's usually just a few tweaks that need to happen with the business owner to really start to create that. But what I find a lot of the time is that their business is just foundationally wrong,
Mm.
right? And so what they go and do is they'll try and generate more leads or increase their prices, for example, but it's really sitting on just foundations that are not strong, that are not gonna actually give them what it is that they want long term.
Yeah, yeah, I 100% agree. So anybody that's followed my story, they know that I was doing all the leads, all the sales, all the sessions and everything. And me and Holly had never been on a holiday, and we'd been together for about 6 years at this point. And we put down a marker. We're going to give ourselves 6 months to transition me out of DK9 so we could go. And then we went to Thailand for 6 weeks and I didn't have to think of it. So you spoke about two things a minute ago. You talk about staff and you
Yeah.
talked about systems. Before we dive into which one should come first, for
Mhm.
anybody that doesn't know, what do you mean by systems? What does that actually mean?
So what I find, like, for some people listen to this, they'll be like, well, that's obvious, but there's still people in the industry who are not doing simple things. Like, for example, I still meet trainers and studio owners who don't have simple systems to take payments, for example, or to book classes, or simple things like this that can be automated very, very quickly, that they're not doing for whatever reason. It might be that, oh, I'm just not good with the technology, or I haven't got the time, or I've always done it this way, or whatever it is. But you're never ever going to be able to start transitioning out of your business if the whole business is you, right? The system is you. So really, it's just really writing down everything that you do in the business and thinking, how much of this can I automate, right? How much of this can I use like some kind of technology to kind of take this off my hands, right? So that's the first thing that I did with my stuff, is really try and get technology to take over as much as possible, and then anything else that's left over is then when I start looking for staff, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because we'll get to talk about this later, but when it comes to staff, obviously they're not going to be able to take over something that is you, right? That it has to be systemized. It has to be, a certain strategy of how you do things. So this is what I mean. This is the difference between going from a self-employed kind of mindset, just trying to get by, just to make a bit of money, to going towards being a proper business owner, to create a business that can run and make money without you.
I think you said something like super important there for like technology and the time it saves. And if you go back to the payment option, if you still don't have that automated payment system set up, or a technology that helps take the payment, then you're always going to be chasing clients for money. Oh, you're a few days late. Can you pay today? Or you need to pay tomorrow. And you always got this in your mind. But if you use something simple like Stripe, when someone pays, you just say this card needs to be billed every 30 days and you don't have to worry about it. It's like Liam said, just make certain small changes like this will save you a lot of stress and time, definitely in the long run.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I totally agree. I totally agree. Um, I'm quite lucky because I like technology. I like creating systems. I actually enjoy it a lot. So it's always something that I look to do and offload as quickly as possible. So I'm not having to do that, you
Cool.
know?
Okay, so I'm a small studio owner. I'm fully booked with all my sessions. I still have to do all the lead generation, the chasing prospects, managing clients, dealing with clients, keeping clients, everything that's in my fitness business. And I'm ready to now step up and find more time for me, not make more money, but just to find more time so I, like say, hang out with my family or go on holiday and do this stuff. Do I first put some systems in place, or really outsource some stuff, or do I bring a staff member in? Which one would you say comes first, systems or staff?
What if it was me, the first thing I actually would do is something different. I would actually look at the actual business plan. So, for example, if like the amount of studio owners that I've helped who are all doing one-to-one training, right? So they're training relentless one-to-one hours with clients, and a lot of them understand the power of doing group training, for example, of doing small groups, and maybe they've dabbled a little bit in small groups already, right? But I've done this with so many studio owners already, where, like I say, they're doing lots of one-to-one training, and I've gone in there and said, look, we need to take these clients and put them into small groups, right? Of say anything from, I don't know, 5 to 10 people at one time, right? And just make a decision, right? Make a decision that because the current system that you're running, as in one-to-one training, it's going to be very difficult to outsource all of that, right? It's going to be very expensive long term, right? So you have to have a look at the actual strategy that you're running, the actual plan, right? The business blueprint, if you like. So a lot of what I do is, number one, how do you want to live your life, right? How many days off do you want a week? What does it look like? Okay, cool. That's what you want. Let's build something that's actually going to give you that. And I'm a big supporter. And my studios that I had was purely group training, small group personal training, right? So we take these one-to-one clients, we put them into small groups, and obviously I help the studio owner, because a lot of what holds back the studio owner is, I don't think my clients will like that, or I don't think my clients want to train with anyone else apart from me, right? And they have all these simple little kind of blocks that are really stopping them from making these big decisions. But once they've been put into small groups, that alleviates so much time straight away, right? You're looking at 50%, at least 50% less training time, just by putting your clients into small groups. And for me personally, I think small group training is far better than one-to-one anyway. Um, and then from there, yes, is then looking at building out systems and then bringing on a team after them. But it
Yeah.
has to all fit, right? And like for me, it would be, you know, when I've had my studios, we had one group training program, one high-end offer. That's all we had, right? Just one thing. I had like a little 1,000 square foot fitness studio, and we were pumping 20, 30K months just by doing one high signature program, in small groups, right? And that's why I think that's so powerful, you know.
No, that's a
So
key point. Like you're saying, if you are doing one-to-one and you want to switch to groups and you've got clients moaning that, oh, I don't really want to be training with everybody else. Remember, this is your business. It's not their business.
right.
You decided to become an entrepreneur, work for yourself, self-employed because you wanted a business that works for you. So if you're scared that one client might leave or a couple of people are going to moan that they have to train with people, then you're being dictated by clients. It's your business. You need to take charge. And then the other thing you said then was again key. The amount of money you can earn per hour massively changes when you go from one-to-one to group sessions. And the best example is, like you say, if you charge £40 for 1 hour of one-to-one, but if you charge £100 a month and you had 100 clients on your books and you had 12 people in a session, that's £100 an hour. So it changes rapidly how much you can earn per hour. So your
Mm.
income, like you said, you were doing 20, 30K in your studio a month. So again, the amount of you were charging per month is massive as well. So it it it, it makes a significant difference going from one to group. Yeah.
David, you hit the nail on the head earlier about people being basically what I find with Fit Pro studio owners, their clients are dictating their business, right? And they're not leading their business properly, right? They're not
Can you
taking
do a
their
1:30 session? Can you do a 1:30 session? Okay, yeah. And then one person turns up and like, oh, I've sacrificed an hour for a 1:30 session. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Like, whenever I'm planning with studio owners, they set the times out to suit their diary, right? Them, not their clients. If their clients want to be part of it, they'll turn up, right? It's as simple as that. And when I put these changes in with studio owners, sometimes clients do leave, but that's okay, right? That's okay because we're going to have a business that's actually going to give us what the owner wants long term. Yes, we may lose one or two clients. I mean, there's always a very, very small amount. Most of the time, 95% upwards are on board, right? And then you've actually got something that's gonna give you actually what you want. But you're right. There's so many uh, fit pros, studio owners who are order takers, right, from their clients, right, and they end up having a business that works for their clients but not for them, right? And like I was coaching one of my fitness studio owners today, and we're just going through that process right now of having the chats with every single client about this is what we're doing now, right? We're moving away from this style of training. We're moving towards this. There's going to be a price increase, right? So he's going through all that right now, and it's the scariest bit, right? And he has some massive fear around it, but now he's started to move through that. He's like, oh my God, this feels really good, right? I'm actually like, I feel like I'm moving forward now, right? And I'm actually leading my business and taking control. And then once you do that, everything else is easier.
Yeah, it's like that plaster situation. Yeah. If you take it off really slowly, it hurts and hurts and hurts. You just have to just rip it off, make that change, and really just move forward with it. So we're transitioning. We're going from this one-to-one studio where you're doing 40, 45 hours a week. And we're going to do group training, maybe 10 in a session. We're going to reduce the number of hours that we got. So that's going well, and I've reduced the amount of hours I'm working. Do I still need to put systems and bring staff in now I've changed how my business is set up? Or should I keep adding additional sessions and taking more clients on? Or is it kind of like a tipping point, you would say, with once you got to this many clients and this many sessions, now is the time to really change and bring a staff member in?
Well, what's the beauty about group training is that a lot of the time with the guys that I've helped and girls is that they were doing like Monday to sometimes Sunday 1-to-1, right? But then we converted it into a group training, and what we found is that we only need to put this on 3 days a week. So now they're only working 3 days a week instead of 7 or 6, right? And with half the hours, and you've got now 4 days off a week. When I had my second studio, we were only open 3 days a week, right? Because that's all we needed to get where we wanted, right? So that's all we did, and we had 4 days off a week, which was great. Now that's going to relieve so much pressure already, because you're now only working 3 days a week instead of 4, right? Sorry, 5 or 6 or 7, and but inevitably that business is going to grow. So of course, like, it all depends what you want. If you're happy just working 3 days a week, doing everything, earning your money, but having those days off, cool. I'm not here to say that that's wrong, right? If that's what you want, then that's cool. But if you like the idea of not having to step into your studio or your business at all, then yes, you're going to have to start thinking slightly differently and thinking, okay, systems, how can I automate stuff? Okay, is it time for me to bring on a trainer? Is it time for me to bring on someone to do my sales? Do I need someone like David to run my Facebook ads, for example? And you start kind of bringing in these people and building out a team. But obviously that costs money. But so this is why it's so important that you are selling a high-end program here, right? And for me, this is what took me from a trainer earning 3 to 5K a month to earning 20 to 30K, was learning how to sell high ticket. And this is why I talked about this in the last video that we did together, because it had such a powerful impact on my life and my business. When you're earning, say, 10, 15, 20, you can pay for a team, right? And you can pay for a team to come in and take over your day to day. And that's exactly what I did. In my first studio, I didn't even need to be there at all. I was completely out of it. I was just kind of overseeing, managing the day to day, but I wasn't have to do the sales. I didn't have to do any of the training. I wasn't running Facebook ads, or, that was all done. That was taken care of, which was great.
So we've got a team, we work in no hours. What do you do with all this spare time then? Now you've like relinquished all this time and you've got so much time.
What I'm going to say is that when you build, this, David, when you bring on a team, it brings new problems, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? And I'm not going to say your life's going to be, all sunshine and rainbows, because it's not. You move into new problems, but a lot of the time, I can remember when I, was completely out of it. For example, I mean, it was a strange, very weird feeling, right? To not like wake up. I almost felt like I was doing something wrong for not being there in some way at the start. But then obviously you get used to it. But for me, from the age of 21 until I was 27, I mean, I was working relentlessly to try and get to that point. So I just enjoyed some time off. I actually went on 5 holidays in 1 year when it first happened, because I was like, I haven't been on holiday for 5 years. Right. So I went away, I enjoyed myself. I, had a good time. But, obviously you're going to have to be there to kind of manage, oversee, look after your team, make things, make sure things are ticking over correctly, and really, really leading your company. Right. And and I'm sure you've had to go through that growth as well, David, of being a leader, making strong decisions, and just really leading from the front.
So let's dive into that more then, because we've kind of built everything up step by step. We've gone from 1-to-1 to changing the model, to bringing staff in, to now you having no real involvement in the coaching or anything. How do you manage a team successfully? Do you kind of just let them get on? Do you give them to-do lists, or do you actually really have to physically step up and take control of bad situations that come along?
Yeah. So, the key is their training. Number one, you've got to have things like, manuals in place, how the business works. I'm sure you've got a document that kind of outlines how the whole business works and what it is that you do. So it's really getting your staff on board your ethos and how you work as a company. And what I've always found very powerful was, making them part of that vision, making them part, making them feel like they're part of something that's making an impact, that's growing, that is getting bigger, and making them feel special, right? So that's very important. But yeah, for sure, like leading by example is probably the most important one for me. And having a regular team meeting, like I would say at least every week, getting everyone together, like just making sure everyone is communicating, is coherent, everyone's moving towards the same goal, and but of course you're dealing with human beings here, so there's going to be the odd hiccup every now and then for sure.
Yeah, and like you say, when the problem does arrive, you nip it in the bud as quick as possible, whether it be a staff or issue in the studio or whatever. Just you have to take care of it quickly and efficiently, otherwise it will just lead into bigger and more painful issues further down the line. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. If you've got problems between staff, things like that, that's only ever going to get, that's only going to get worse. But this is where I'm talking about being a proper leader, being a proper business owner, getting in there, dealing with those little fires and putting them out before they turn into something huge. Like you're saying.
So do you have any time frames then, kind of like a final question from me before we kind of wrap it up? Is the time frames of somebody going from a single person doing all this to actually being able to step out of a business, could you do it all and be successful in 3 months? Or should someone be looking at more closer to 2 years to going from what they're doing now to being able to almost transition fully out and just managing?
Yeah, I think you're looking probably at least a year to do it properly. I think if you rush it, then it can collapse, right? And you have to slowly kind of do stuff, bring stuff. But a lot of my work in the initial first 12 weeks is dealing with the actual whole business, right? Is this business set up to give you what you want long term,
Mm.
i.e., be able to step out completely and have a business to run without you? Is that set up to do that? If not, no. Okay, we have to literally rip up what you've been doing, okay, and start completely from scratch, and then build it up to actually give you something that is gonna be able to run without you. So that initial first 12 weeks is definitely more kind of foundation work, I would say. And then as time goes on, it's about bringing in systemizing and bringing in a new team member, getting them trained up, making sure they're working effectively, and then moving on to the next one, moving on to the next one, moving on to the next one, right? And then eventually, but it can happen. Like once you know what you're doing and you've got a business that's actually going to able to do that, then it can happen actually quite quickly.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it's just changing that whole mindset and how you're working completely.
Nice. Okay. So to finish then, is there any final thoughts or tips on creating freedom in your fitness business that you think you haven't shared with us?
If you're a fit pro, a fitness studio owner right now who is working relentless hours, and you're in a mindset where you're like, I just need to keep going and then I'll get what I want. I just need to keep working hard, right? Please stop right now, because I have been there and I've seen many fit pro studio owners in that position where they just think, I just need to keep going. I just need to generate more leads. I just need more customers. Believe me, it's not going to give you what you want, probably, right? Your whole strategy, your whole business blueprint is not set up to give you what it is that you want. You went into this business with a mindset of like, I just need to make money, but now you've made some money, you're like, I need some time. But you're not your actions are not going to give you that time back. So sometimes you've got to go scale backwards, you've got to go back a little bit before you can move forward properly. So that's my biggest message, is sometimes it's not about leads or sales or this new fancy thing, because you're just putting more crap on crap, right? sometimes is about, having someone like me come in, strip it back to then put stronger foundations in so it can actually give you what it is that you want long term.
Cool. So for somebody thinking now, maybe I should speak to Liam. How can they reach out and find out a little bit more about what it is you actually do on offer?
Best way to contact me is through Facebook. Just search Liam Mark Britton. I'm the only one on Facebook. You'll find me, and yeah, just add me as a friend, and we can have a chat right now. That's all cool.
Perfect. Liam, appreciate you coming on again for the second time. Hopefully next time we'll have another great topic to talk about sales, freedom, and then we'll see what we can find out next time. But again, thanks for coming on. I'll speak to you soon.
Thanks so much, mate.
Okay, so that was Liam on creating a business or creating more time for you. And that's what this week is going to be all about. Creating that fitness business so it's yours, not something that's controlled by other people, but something that you're proud of, that you take ownership of. So I'd love you to subscribe to. If you haven't already subscribed, press pause and press subscribe. Then I'll speak to you all tomorrow for the next 5 tips.